All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Living the Dream podcast. Today on the show, we have Emily Guerra, who is a productivity life coach for self-employed females. Emily, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am fantastic. Thanks so much for asking. And we'd like to jump right in, as I'm sure you know. So if you could start with telling us
Love it.
a little bit about yourself and what you like to do for fun, that'd be great.
Yeah, of course. So I am actually a dog mom to an amazing little Shih Tzu mix. She's an adorable rescue and the love of my life. Her name is Madonna, and we go on long walks all the time. Honestly, it's like one of my favorite things to do. I walk every single day, and we love to do hikes all the time too with my boyfriend. And then another one of my like big passions is food. I love to try new things everywhere I can. And I think living in LA, I've been very lucky to be able to try pretty much everything anytime. And so I definitely like to think of myself as an amateur foodie.
I gotcha. I gotcha. Do you have a favorite type of food?
I love Italian. I also love Mexican. You can never go wrong with either.
Mexican. I so I'm in Texas and I ate Mexican probably 3 times a week growing up, and now I'm just kind of over it, just a little bit. But I get it. It is good.
I'm one of those people that can literally have pasta or tacos every single day for lunch. And sometimes I do. It's nice when you get to rotate between your favorite two meals every single day of the
Yeah,
week. So I totally feel you. There's definitely some dishes where I'm like, oh, can never have again.
I get you. I get you. Well, awesome. So, dog mom, long walks with the dog, and foodie type
Eating.
activity. Yep, eating with you and the BF. Awesome.
Oh, yes.
Tell us a little bit more about being a productivity life coach for self-employed females. What brought you to here, and what does the day-to-day look like?
Yeah, so I've actually had a very windy journey to end up here. It was never a plan of mine. So I actually graduated in 2020, right into the pandemic. So when I was graduating, I had always planned to be a wedding planner. And I had a job lined up, and I was doing another job, and I had a job at a restaurant. And as soon as lockdown hit, I lost all of my jobs, and I also couldn't afford to live in the apartment that I had set up with my friend, and really just had no idea what to do. So I ended up moving across the country and in with my brother, thankfully, who offered up his guest room. And so I think that transition from going to from a sorority house to a suburban house with three kids under 7 and not having like a job or school to go to every single day, it was definitely a tough transition. And I look back now and I really think therapy was the main reason that I was able to get through it so gracefully and without truly panicking. I think also being able to move in with my family was a major help, obviously.
Yeah.
So through that time, I was making the decision of whether I wanted to wait for lockdown to end so I can continue wedding planning or if I wanted to start something new. And I'm really not the kind of person to wait around and to see if one day this will happen. And I really wanted to get my life started. I mean, I just graduated college and I decided to take a bunch of online courses and figure it out. And I just started freelancing out social media services to family friends and trying to see how I can make money myself and just pay the bills and move back to LA with all my friends. And then through that journey, I started becoming kind of obsessed with productivity systems and organizational systems and helping my clients be, create workflows and just understand the flow of things, but also to kind of help our work together and have there be less stress, less overwhelm. Things are a lot more seamless. And one of my clients said that I should create a business out of this because I was like really helping him not only stay more organized with his work, but in his head and like clarify, what are the priorities? What are we really doing here? And let's just kind of take it step by step.
Mhm.
And so that was the first time I started thinking, maybe I can do something like this. And just really started doing more online courses and more reading. And I ended up finding out that there's such a thing as a productivity life coach, which fascinated me because I always thought that there needed to be a unison between productivity and mental health, because really you cannot have professional development without personal development. And I think that that link is missing in the corporate world. And I realized that's what I want to bring to the table. I want to provide that link for people so that way they can reach their full potential a lot faster and not go through the crazy trial and errors that I went through, and kind of help them really move forward. And so that's how I ended up becoming a life coach. Really crazy, like windy road.
It is. It is. Yeah, that's awesome. And I love how the business was birthed out of like a client recommendation.
Right?
It's like
Yeah.
it's just really cool when you have like solid relationships where you're adding value to them, they're adding value to you, and then it just multiplies in your life and creates something that's as fruitful as what you're doing now. So that's really cool.
You. And then to answer your day to day, so I recently just launched myself as a life coach. So I've actually only been certified for, well, about a couple months now, but I officially launched my website a couple months ago as well. So my day to day has definitely been a lot like an entrepreneur, in that I'm starting a business, I am blogging, I'm creating content, I'm on social media, I am networking, I'm trying to put my name out there. And a lot of it is also just training myself and coaching myself, I think is a huge part of my day, because I really like to practice what I preach. And if I am not focusing on my own mindset and really practicing how I want to treat clients to myself, then I think there would be a disconnect. So I think right now, a lot of my time is spent on developing coaching materials. And I'm really excited for that next step to like really start coaching people. I really would love to do that. So to get to that next step, I'm actually creating an e-course right now to just see if I can, start doing both, because it would be so fun to, help people online, but also help people in person or via Zoom or however it may be.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I gotcha. I gotcha. I love it. And so, what does training and coaching yourself look like? Like, what are some of the productivity tips and hacks that you apply to like get your day going smoothly?
So one thing I am super dedicated to is my workday startup ritual. I have a routine essentially where I read for 20 minutes, and then I fill out this journal that I've created for myself where I outline my goals for the day, and I write down my mantras, and I write down what I'm grateful for. And I also write down what like a productive day would look like. And then I time block my day. And I think just having that set up in the morning has been so incredibly effective in creating a positive and empowering mindset for the rest of the day. And I think that is one of the things that if anyone takes something from this podcast, it's a workday startup ritual, because it is truly life changing when you can start your day off with that empowerment. And I
Yeah,
think that's been something I really love for sure.
I gotcha. I could dig it. Well, tell us a bit more about your motivation. What really gets you up and keeps you going every day?
Okay, so I actually had a flashback this last, like a couple days ago, to a really random memory when I was like 9 years old or something. I was at a neighbor's house, and she was a working mom, and I really looked up to her. And she was sharing with me that she had been up for like 70 something hours because she had so much to do and needed to be so productive, and was kind of bragging about being up for so long and almost seemed proud of it. And I remember just thinking in my head, like, why would you ever want to be like that? Like, I could not live, if that's my future, like, I don't ever want to work in the corporate world, like, because that sounds, no. And so I don't know. I just like cannot imagine being up for working. Oh, goodness. And so I think what right after that, I actually started going to therapy because my parents got divorced when I was around 9 as well. And so I really started my mental health awareness journey very young. which is really rare, but really fortunate for me. So I had a very strong foundation. And then as I was growing older, I always knew that there was a lack of emotional awareness in the corporate world. But because I was following a path of a wedding planner, I never actually really experienced the corporate world for myself. But once I started working for bigger, like larger firms for as my, sorry, once I started freelancing and working with larger firms and seeing kind of the organizational culture and the struggles and the lack of communication and how much back and forth, and it shocked me that the lack of personal development is not addressed when that could help the lack of professional development within an organization.
Yep.
And I think, yeah, it's just so the disconnect is so prevalent in society. And I think my real motivation is to help empower females so that way they can see the connection and work their way higher and faster. But selfishly also to create a culture for, my future kids where they don't live in a society where productivity means doing more at no matter what cost. I don't think that that's a healthy mentality. And I think switching it up and having a conversation that unites productivity and mental health is really key. So I think that's my motivation.
There we go. Empowering
Yeah.
females so they can see the connection and work their way higher and faster, but also connecting the link between mental health and productivity.
To sum it all up, yes.
I think that's hype. I think connecting that link between productivity and mental health, I really like it because you talked earlier about prioritization, and when you think about productivity, a lot of people can think about just booking their calendar for 16 hours, when it's also like,
Mhm.
depending on how you measure productivity, you could also say, how effective am I being? So, like, what are my goals? What are my results? And then how is my time leading to those results? And do I need to be working 16 hours to do that? How can I focus on the 20% that produces the 80% and, work for 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours and create the same results of somebody who's, you know, kind of running like a hamster wheel.
100%. I think uh, when I read the book 80/20, it was really eye-opening to see like, wow, when you do take a step back and assess where are the biggest results coming from, it really is a very small portion of what you do day in, day out. And so I think narrowing in on that focus should be the priority of productivity, but it's not. It's more getting done more in less time and getting this done before someone else. And it's a race, which I think kind of lends itself to the rat race, where it really is trying to up one another. But like you said, it should be more about effectiveness and what you get out of it at the end of the day, equal to what you put into it. Like your energy and your time is just as valuable as the results.
Yeah, I love it. Well, let's go ahead and jump into your dreams and goals. Emily, tell us about your vision for your life and your business.
Sure. So I think ever since I was a little kid, something I've always wanted to do is build my dream home from the ground up. And that I know is going to cost more than a penny. So I definitely need to be able. So I think since I was a kid, that's been a huge motivation of mine. It's like, I want to be able to support myself enough so I can build a dream home. And then more recently, my real vision has become about building a community for people that, for women more, for that really like inspires them to analyze mental health just as much as we analyze physical health and financial health and relational health. I think mental health should be the forefront. And I'd really like to create a space for women to feel that and to learn from each other and help each other and grow with each other. So that's my real ultimate vision.
I gotcha. So build your dream home from the ground up and build
Yes,
a community for women where mental health is the forefront of all the health indicators.
exactly. And to really help each other and just like share stories and use one another's experiences to teach ourselves, I think, is a really big component of community and something I really, really like to create.
I gotcha. So when you're thinking about this community, let's go a little bit more in depth into what being in this community would look like. So are we talking, weekly mastermind? Are we talking monthly event? Are we talking weekly mastermind and monthly event? And we're like sharing businesses together and we work out together and we eat lunch together? Like, how deep does it go?
Love it. Oh, I don't think we'll go, too deep where we're like working out together. I think that would be, honestly, I don't work out too much. So I think that would be kind of a little scary for me.
I gotcha.
But I would love, so I actually just got into SMS, like text message marketing. And I think it's a really, really fun way to like have a book club and to build accountability and like kind of create accountability buddies for one another. And I also just like share a bunch of free, tools and tips and all that kind of stuff too. And then I would love to create a forum where we do have like an online, we can chat, but then we can also group chat and really just talk about our experiences in moving forward and just kind of share stories and share tools and share resources, but more just kind of hear one another and say like, oh wow, I'm not alone. Someone else does feel this way. Like maybe I'm not an imposter. Maybe I do have what it takes to do this and that kind of thing. I think that's my number one goal. And so to do that, beyond having the group texts and the fun, smaller components, I would love to do a monthly mastermind, although I don't know if I would call it a mastermind, but it would basically be a mastermind where we would all kind of get together and I would hope probably make it a happy hour and, try to make it as fun as possible, but where we're just really sharing those experiences. And then, if people end up being in the same cities and having small get-togethers and doing other like in-person happy hours, that would be so, so cool. But I definitely want this community to be free and open so that way, because I'm a young entrepreneur and so I don't have all of the funds to join all of these communities and to network as much as I should be. And so I want to create that space for other females who don't always have the funds to do everything. And so this community will definitely be feasible for everybody.
I gotcha. I gotcha. So free community, like kind of a monthly mastermind. Is that a virtual mastermind, like kind of over Zoom, or are we meeting in
Yeah.
person?
I think we would definitely start off over Zoom. And then as we figured out who's in what cities, we could make it in person and kind of like local chapters almost.
Yeah. Yeah. I gotcha.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it. So free community, monthly. The primary goal, correct me if I'm wrong, is to hear each other's stories and to really share
exactly.
share that experience. And then the little sub goals are like the texting group chats, and then you have the accountability, which is also a big core piece of it.
For sure. Like let's say someone needed help, reaching a goal and they were not having as much personal accountability as they wanted, then I could text them once or twice a week or maybe once a day and just say, hey, your reminder to do XYZ, like good luck, like let me know if you need something, like just that kind of thing. A very friendly push. I think a lot of people, especially with the working from home culture, can feel a little isolated sometimes and need a little friendly tug every now and then.
Yeah.
There's no shame in that either. I think
Yeah.
offering that, could really help.
Yeah. I feel that. I feel that. Will there be a paid tier to the community at any point, or do you plan to keep it free?
So I think the community will always be free. And then if you wanted to get any paid experiences, I would definitely offer one-on-one coaching. I already offer one-on-one coaching and would love to really just dive deep. And like if you ever wanted personalized tools, like maybe a journal or maybe some productivity tools, like whatever basically would help you reach your goal, I think I would love to help really guide you and create that one-on-one experience, because I think that's really key in mental health, is feeling personalized and feeling like this is my solution, this is my tool, this will work for me. And I think having that one-on-one experience is really key. So I would definitely offer, discounts and all that kind of stuff for the community.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. Well, awesome. Any other dreams or goals that you want to chat about before we kind of move through?
Yeah, so I think another goal of mine really is to live off of passive income, which is might seem like a strange goal,
Not
but
strange at all.
I think it's a very new and modern goal, right?
Yeah.
Like when I told it to my mom, she was like, "What?" I was like,
Uh-huh.
"Yeah, what?" She was so confused. But I think it's a really fun goal because it makes me think about different ways that I could expand the community or expand my coaching, like this e-course that I want to create, and just really think of new avenues where I can help people constantly. It doesn't have to be one-on-one. It doesn't have to be in person. And
Mm,
so I think having that goal has inspired me to be very creative, which I really love.
I gotcha. What's your plan to live off of passive income? What's your like financial freedom number coming in passively, and what's your plan to get there? If you have it. If you don't, we can move on. But
I love that. No. So my well, I am stumbling my words today. Okay. So my financial free, that's like a tongue twister. Financial freedom number, I think is, I'm going to shoot high because I think I can totally do it. 100K.
100K a month?
Totally can. A month? I can't do the math. 112. I would say a year, 100K a year.
100K a year
Within the
passively.
next within the next like 5 to 6 years.
I gotcha. I gotcha.
And then yeah, and then what was the second part of the question?
What's your plan to get there?
Great question. Okay, so right now I am creating an e-course. It's actually called How to Get Unstuck and Move Forward. And my I would love to create as many e-courses as possible. I think my next one will be about perfectionism, because it's something I really struggle with. And then after that, the imposter syndrome, and just really kind of start diving into all of these mindset hurdles that we have that prevents us from being productive. And I would love to just create a ton of e-courses to really start out. And then from there, I think, expanding my blog, doing affiliate marketing, and starting to sell or online printables and products, and I think speaking engagements would be really fun too. And just kind of going to conferences, and although that's not passive, actually.
Yeah, that's
Never
pretty
mind on
active.
this. That's pretty active as you can get.
I gotcha. I gotcha. Okay, so the passive income is the kind of blog affiliate deal, and the e-courses are really the passive source.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's my focus for the next few years for sure.
I gotcha. I gotcha. Just curious, do you ever want to invest in real estate?
Yes. Oh my goodness. My boyfriend and I were just talking about this. That is a huge goal of mine. I think real estate, I read a book. It's one of those really big, it has dad in it,
Rich
financial
dad,
books.
poor dad?
Yes. I'm like, it has, that was fun. It has dad in it. That's so
That's awesome.
Um, Rich Dad Poor Dad, I read that a couple years ago when I was still in college, and I was like, huh, we should invest in real estate. And ever since, I've been like, I'm going to invest in real estate. I think that is a really under, like people my age and younger really don't understand that that's a huge avenue of revenue that you can follow.
Mhm.
And so that book really opened my eyes. Great book, highly suggest it.
It's a good one. It's a good one for sure. And real
Yeah,
estate is a great investment. Well, cool.
great investment.
Okay. Live off passive income, build your dream home from the ground up, build that community where mental health is the forefront of the health indicators. What other dreams or goals do we want to chat about,
I would
if
love to
any?
start a family.
Oh, a family.
Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
keep
think it would be I think it would be so fun to have some kids eventually, long, long time away, but have some kids eventually who want to grow up and also really focus on mental health. And I think spreading that awareness to kids because so let me backtrack and explain my love for children. I am one of six. I have three younger siblings, and I also have three or four young nephews and nieces, and all of them are under 10.
right now.
So I have a yes, right now.
Mm.
So I have a lot of kids in my life who I adore, and I see the difference in their mental health and the difference in how their parents handle it. And I think having kids is such a blessing and such a way to expand not only kind of like help share your own knowledge in a someone you love, but also to help shape society in a long run and like to really kind of put forward like this is how I think a little person should grow up to be and like to create that and to do that I think is like so fun and cool. And especially when I'm so focused on mental health and like making it fun and educating kids and I think it's just so fun. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's a really roundabout way to say
I love it.
definitely a goal.
What's your ideal number of kids?
4.
Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Four
Yeah.
kids. Well, cool. Any other dreams or goals that you want to mention?
I think that pretty much covers them all.
It's a good set. It's a good set of dreams and goals right there.
I think I think having some far-reaching ones that makes you feel a little nervous is definitely the way to go because that's how you know like okay, if I do this it means I grow and it means I challenge myself and it means I can become someone I want to become. So I think that's kind of a key in goal creation.
Yeah, yeah. I love it. Big fan. Big fan of you stretching
What
yourself, especially at such a young age.
thank you. What is like your biggest goal?
Ooh, I have two goals in mind,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
my goals are gonna sound crazy, but I'm dead serious about them. One, financial freedom for myself and my family, which is gonna come through passive income, primarily through three businesses. It's gonna be real estate, coaching, and really what I want the coaching to be is I kind of want it to be a venture capitalist firm, is what I've realized. I want to take people who want to be entrepreneurs. I want to help them do personal development in the kind of the first rung of the value ladder. And then I want to help them learn how to form partnerships that are beneficial for business in the second rung. And then I want them to be buying businesses and buying real estate in those partnerships they've formed. So, like, for example, if you get 3 to 6 people together and they consistently put 500 to $1,000 a month into an LLC and they learn how to leverage business credit, they could buy a $1 million business on credit, which brings them $300,000 a year in cash flow. And then they could take that cash flow, reinvest into the business and scale it while they're all work. Like they could literally hire somebody to run the business while they're working jobs and they would just own the business. And it's like you're leveraging debt, but 97% of the money supply in the world is debt. So people shouldn't be
Yeah.
scared of debt. um, but so I want to help them personally develop, learn how to form business partnerships and develop trust with some people they want to build a life with. And then they join the deal makers mastermind, which is we're all buying businesses and buying real estate together. And so that's the coaching business. It's kind of like a venture capital firm where when I get wealthy enough, I'll be funding some of these deals and partnering with people on this, et cetera, et cetera. So I get equity in these companies as well. So real estate,
Mhm.
coaching, and then my brother's a day trader. And so I want to see him grow a prop firm. So I'm constantly investing in him. And I also like to trade. I'm less serious about it than he is, though. I just think it's fun to trade. Whereas, like, he's been trading for the past 5 years very seriously. And, like, I'm more passionate about the coaching, but I'm really
Right.
passionate about investing in people. So I'm going to invest in my brother as much as I can. Right.
That's awesome.
So those are three businesses. That's
That
financial
answer
freedom.
ready.
What do you say?
You had that answer ready. You were like, oh, I got this.
Oh, yeah,
That
yeah,
was
yeah.
awesome.
I think
I'm
about it a
impressed.
lot.
I love it.
And
I
then
love it.
I have my
Many
second
people
goal.
don't
Yes, a lot of people don't, which
talk
is why I love to coach. Yeah, no, for sure.
that.
I got my second goal though. Are you ready for it?
Yeah, I don't know, am I?
I don't know. I hope you are. So this is a bigger one. Financial freedom for myself and my family. That's I'm gonna accomplish that in my lifetime. I don't have a doubt about that. But the next goal is raising the standard of living across the world to middle class America so that nobody is like without shelter, food, water, or safety. And the way I'm going to do that is not by myself. The goal is to rally 1 billion people to move in kind of a consistent, focused, um, like just disciplined, unified effort towards that goal. And so it's more of like shifting culture so that it's cooler to add value to the least of these than it is to, just stay so selfish. And the reason so many people are so selfish actually is because they're not financially abundant. They're not abundant health wise, whether it be physical health or mental health, and they're not abundant in their relationships. They're too lonely, broke, and unhealthy to worry about anybody else. And so that's why the coaching is like help people develop and then pour into those people
Right.
so that we can go pour into others together. That's the vibe.
I love that. That's amazing. I think you'll totally achieve it.
Thank you.
I
I
have no
appreciate
doubt.
it. Hey, you're
No
part of the
doubt.
journey now that you've come on the podcast. So
I'm honored, honestly.
love it. Love it. But yeah, those are my dreams and goals. Sorry, you got
That's
me all
awesome. No, oh my gosh, I love that you have them so laid out and them so detailed. And like, I feel like if you close your eyes, you can picture it. And that is truly the essence, I think, of a goal. And also the missing component of so many goals, which
Yeah.
is really unfortunate because it's actually the fun part of a goal, like when you close your eyes and you can picture, like, oh, that's going to be my future life. Like, that inspires you and that makes you want to move forward and it makes you have that drive. So
Yeah.
definitely need to be able to picture it.
No, for sure. Turning the negative what if and the negative visualization into a positive what if and a positive visualization is so
Awesome.
powerful. And I've listened to a couple influencers like I think Layla and Alex Ramosi are pretty big on this. They talk about, and Mel Robbins actually too, talks about negative visualization, but they talk about it in the context of a positive goal. So it's like visualize yourself going towards your goal and then persevering despite failure because that will help you when you hit the hard bumps on the road. But it's always visualizing yourself in the context of I am achieving this thing, which even though they
Right.
call it negative visualization, it's still positive in that sense. So
Yeah.
big
No,
fan.
that's great. That's great. I need to check that out for sure. I think a question that has really helped me kind of reframe when I'm like having that negative self-talk is instead of asking what if, because I can go down that road of negativity sometimes, I ask, how can I? Like, how
Mhm.
can I do this? How can I? And it really opens up for like switching that mindset from, oh, like what if that, like shutting it down very negative to, oh, we have different possibilities. Like we can do some research, we can ask someone, we can do XYZ. And I just think reframing that question, so easy to do and so powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love it. The how can I? And then if you want to like when you get to that how can I, if you start to bump your head and you start to procrastinate because you don't know how, another question you can ask is who can help me? Like when I read that book,
Okay.
Who Not How, it's like somebody has all the answers and all
Somebody,
the money, by the way. Somebody out there has every resource you need, whether it be money, time, energy, effort, knowledge, they have it. And we'll give it to you if you present them the right offer, basically. And so
I think it's sometimes that fear of reaching out to people definitely can hinder someone from wanting to ask someone a question. Or I definitely have fallen to that where I've been a little like, oh, they won't want to talk to me, like they won't answer me, they won't get back to me, and it takes me way too long to reach out to someone. They get back to me in a day, and I was like, why was I worried? What? And
yeah,
so I think for anyone who really does have that, oh, I don't know if they'll just remember, reach out. 9 times out of 10 they will respond. If they don't, so what? doesn't matter.
Facts. Just water off your back.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah,
I love it.
totally. Have
You ready to jump to the next
mindset.
questions?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. What are the top 1 to 2 skills that you need to develop right now to make your dreams and goals come true?
I think consistency is number one for me because I would say that kind of stems from the imposter syndrome a little bit. I kind of allow that imposter voice in my head to take my power away, and I'm not super consistent in taking it back and be able to finish that blog or post that LinkedIn post or reach out, send that email, whatever it may be. I definitely think that I need to be a lot more consistent in putting my brand out there, whatever, in however case. And another one that I think I really need to work on is perfectionism.
Mm,
Perfectionism has been a huge one for me. And I think a lot of it stems from I am writing now, like blogging. And in college, I was communications. So all I did was write essays all day long, every day. And I'm very used to writing essays. And so going from essays to blogs has been honestly a challenge. And I need to remind myself I am not being graded. Like, this is for me. Like, this is for people like me. Like, this is not for my professor. This is not for, I think it's just years of that being ingrained in me has really made me go back and edit and edit and edit. And I just don't need to do that anymore. And just saying, like, this is good enough. This is okay. Like, this can this can work will allow me to just do my business so much faster. And I've definitely have been getting better. I see a lot of growth within the past like 2 months specifically in my perfectionism.
there we go. There we go. Yeah, done is better than perfect in the business world.
Yes. Progress, not perfection.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what are the highest impact daily actions that are going to tick the needle forward towards your dreams and goals?
So I think number one would be reviewing vision. I think reviewing what it is that you want at the end of the day or at the end of whatever it is should be always the first thing that you do because it's your big why. It's kind of like, why are you here? Why are you doing what you're doing? And so remembering that helps you say no to opportunities distractions really disguised as opportunities, and to kind of just put your priorities first and control your calendar and maintain those priorities as real priorities. I think another one is to break down monthly goals into weekly goals every single week. And then every day, break those weekly goals down even more into daily goals and like a next action item. Even if that daily goal is send an email or make a phone call, it can be so simple. A goal doesn't have to be complicated at all. And just being able to check that goal off and say, oh, wow, I did that today. I am moving forward. Even if it's 1%, you're moving forward. And that's a really good feeling. So being able to have goals to check off, I think is super key. It's not just tasks, it's like a bigger goal for the day.
I feel that.
And then, yeah, right. And then I think another one really is to be grateful and kind of have like a gratitude, whether it's you write down one thing a day or three things a day or however many, just to remember that you might be working towards something bigger and better, but what you do have right now, you don't want to miss. And you don't want to forget that, you are living a life that is very beautiful, and you need to remember to be thankful for it. So many people, we get wrapped up in the day to day all the time. And I think, excuse me, and I think ever since I started writing down three things every single morning that I'm grateful for, I just started looking at my surroundings a little bit differently. Like, oh, isn't that pretty? Or, oh, I'm thinking this for this. And it's just like a small thing. That might be an orange or like, my snack for the day, but like I just look at it differently. And so expressing gratitude is definitely a huge thing to do every single day.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And so, are those the three for you too? Like the reviewing vision daily, being grateful,
Yeah,
and breaking your goals down to daily
absolutely.
goals?
I think it's the 3 for me and 3 for anybody.
Yeah.
Like, I think, mhm, I think I really focus on actually practicing what I preach in the sense that I do write down my vision every single day. And I do like write down what I'm grateful for. And I really do try to put these tools into practice to show clients that, hey, it works. Like if you just do this, you can see it come to fruition. And so whatever goals that I think any one of my clients should have, I know I definitely need to have too, because I need just as much coaching for myself.
Yeah, yeah. And so do your daily goals vary from day to day, or are there some that are pretty consistent, like X number of outreaches or X number of whatever?
So they definitely vary day to day. I think I've been leaning more towards having the same goal every single Monday and then the same goal every Tuesday for like
I gotcha.
outreach and networking and social media. So like every Monday, I will, for example, write the first half of a blog. Every Tuesday, I finish the blog. Every Wednesday, I'll do the graphics and the SEO and all that fun stuff. And so it's like I do have a cadence of what I do every single day. It's more of a weekly thing rather than a daily thing, but that's been super, super helpful. And then another um, goal that I've honestly had every single day for the past probably year or longer is don't overthink, just do. And I write that down as one of my goals every single day and every single week because it's more of a mindset goal, and kind of a reminder too. And I think that goal has been super, super nice to have that reminder every day. Like sometimes I'll just look at it and be like, oh yeah, okay, just get this done.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, awesome. Is there a character trait that you need to develop right now to make your dream life come true?
Yeah, I think honestly consistency, but also confidence.
Mhm.
Definitely confidence, because I'm such a young coach. I'm only 25 and, recently graduated college, graduated right into the pandemic, so didn't have that work environment that everyone older than me had, and I've been working for myself ever since. So, I think having imposter syndrome is definitely normal, especially for new entrepreneurs, and I think it's also a big hurdle of mine because I've noticed it definitely prevents me from really everything, honestly, which has been very, I know it's so frustrating. It's like imposter syndrome has definitely been one of the tougher things to deal with just because of the fact that I do work for myself. And so I don't have coworkers and I don't have that kind of back and forth team community that most people do. And also just because I don't know any life coaches in my life. I don't really, I've never seen um someone do it except for, more influencers and like influential people. And so I think just kind of showing my family, like, hey, this is something that we can, like, I can make a living off this. And them kind of saying, can you? Like, are you sure? And really just overcoming that and dedicating myself to starting a business, even though I don't have as many funds as much funding as I would love to have. And, it's challenging at first, but having the confidence to just keep pushing forward and to be proud of the content that I'm putting out there has definitely been a focus of mine.
Yeah, yeah. Confidence is key. And yeah, we have a whole section of the podcast dedicated to that. So we're gonna come back to that for sure. But if there are one or two people you can meet right now, and it could be a specific person or a type of person, and they'd really help you take that next step towards your dreams and goals, who would they be and how would they help you?
So I don't know if you've heard of Marie Forleo, but she is a phenomenal coach who has a community very similar to the one that I described I would love to have earlier. And she's really the first example that I've seen of a young female who started coaching in her early 20s and who not only started coaching, but made a real impact and real big community and has been super successful. And I think she is definitely my idol. And like, if I could ever meet her or be, have a conversation with her about like the productivity flow and what I'm doing, I would have to learn how to not fangirl because I would be so in awe of just, oh my God, it's Marie.
I
Like,
gotcha. I
yeah,
gotcha. So
so
just some
definitely
mentorship from Marie would help you out.
tremendously.
Mm, I love it. I love it. Well, now we're gonna jump into the thriving three. Um,
Let's do it.
yeah, which you are well acquainted with. So let's get it. What's your favorite book, movie, or podcast? Pick one.
Okay, so since we were just talking about Marie, my favorite book is Everything is Figure-outable because it was really the first book that showed me I could totally be a life coach and I could totally do what I want to do. And it's also such a foundational book in the unison of productivity and mental health. I think it really helps clarify what your mindset, what hurdles your mindset has, and how to overcome them, and what your mindset should look like in order to figure things out because everything is figure outable. And I think that mantra is seriously life changing.
Yeah,
Definitely recommend.
I love it. And what is one way you like to take care of yourself?
Yeah, so I am a huge advocate of therapy. I've been going to therapy ever since I was like 9 years old. And I went in and out of, in high school, I wasn't super caught up with it. There was sometimes when I noticed that when I wasn't going to therapy were definitely the tougher years of my life. But for like over the past decade now, I've been committed to the same therapist who has been honestly my best friend. And I strongly recommend therapy for everybody. I think everybody could use a therapist. There's not a soul in the world.
Yeah, I gotcha. And what is one action step you can take right now or continue to take if you're already doing it to meet and work with Marie Forleo? Is it Forleo?
Forleo.
Forleo.
Honestly, it took me, I had to go on YouTube and figure out how she said it. Like, how do you say her last name? I don't know. Um, she actually, I'm on her email list. And literally this morning, she emailed out saying if anyone has a question for her to send a video to this link and she will try to get back to you. And so I am going to send a video. Literally right after this, I'm going to record a video and send it to her and just ask her if I could get advice. So I am really going to make this happen because I am so determined to just, even if she even says, "Hi, Emily," I'm fine. Like, that's all I need. Like, that's fantastic. Like, I will be so set.
Yeah, yeah, I gotcha. That's awesome. I'm glad that the action step is so clear. That's awesome.
I do try to, I think something that I learned not recent, but I learned within the past like year and a half is when you have a goal and it's super big and it seems really overwhelming. When you break it down, to break it down so incredibly minutely and to really understand exactly what that next step is, not the next theme of a step, not the next overarching task, but like the actual next task. I think that's really helpful in kind of breaking a larger goal down into a really manageable piece that you
Yeah,
can actually tackle.
for sure. For sure. Yeah, clarity equals speed.
For sure. I love that.
Cool. Well, Emily, now we're going to jump into our final series of questions, and these can get a bit personal. So if you don't want to answer any of them, feel free to say I pass and we'll pass. Cool?
Oh, cool. Let's go.
Okay, we talked about the imposter syndrome and lack of confidence earlier. Is that the main limiting belief that pops up in your life, or is there another one that you'd rather talk about?
I think that's the main one for sure. I think another one that probably a lot of people could relate to also is I can't afford this. Um, because it seems so concrete, right? Like you either have the money or you don't. That's not a belief. How could that be a limiting belief? But it really is, in a lot of ways, actually. And I think that is something I've really been trying to reframe is not, I can't afford this or this is way too expensive, but one day I can afford it. And maybe that day right now might not be right now, but how can I afford it one day? And it goes into like a folder that is a one day, and I have action steps to really kind of build up my financial freedom so that way I can do what I want to do. So I think having that mindset of I can't afford it also leads to a mindset of I won't be able to afford it ever. And I think having that reframed
Mhm.
question is really key.
I love that. I also, specifically, it depends on what you're buying for sure. Because if it's a luxury car, you should put it in the
Right.
"How can I afford it?" and put it in the one-day folder. But, like, a lot of business owners, a lot of solopreneurs, and a lot of people aspiring to get into business, whether it be real estate or, just, like, buying a business or starting a business or whatever it may be, they'll be like, I can't afford coaching. I can't afford marketing. And when you're investing in something that's going to produce a return, the mindset shift that I had to make was like, okay, there's a risk tolerance that I'm okay with. And I accept that I'm okay with that risk tolerance. But also, this
Mhm.
activity is meant to produce a return. So if you know you're going to put $500 in and you're going to get $1,500 out, you would find that $500, right? And so it's not that you can't afford it, it's that you don't believe that you can get that 1,500 out of it, which comes back to that imposter syndrome really, of like the confidence and
Yeah.
the I'm not somebody
All
who deserves it.
intertwined. So
Yeah.
I have a great example of what exactly you just talked about. I have been toying around with the idea of getting a virtual assistant for like a year now because I think it would just tremendously help me out. And I haven't pulled the trigger for forever. I was like, really, I can't afford it. Let's be real. Like, oh, I can't. It's, XYZ a month. There's no way, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Finally, I decided to sit down with the virtual assistant service that I was looking at and just have them explain to me how I can afford it. Have them break it down to me. What is the payment plan? What are the payment options? Could you work with me if ever needed? Like, and just ask them, like, this is my budget. I know it's not the best budget, but it's what I have. How can we make this happen? And now I have a virtual assistant. And this is my first week with him. So I'll let you know how it goes, but I'm super excited.
Yeah.
And so I think just having that different mindset, I started asking myself, okay, how can I afford a virtual assistant? And now I do. And it's
There
like
you go.
really cool.
I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. We talked about how the imposter syndrome kind of came from like the people around you like questioning if it's something you could actually do. So it's an internal thing and an external thing. But I'm curious, do you have any limiting actions that reinforce this limiting belief?
There's a ton, I feel like,
Mhm.
that we do so naturally. I know I have like the biggest action that I think I do is I tend to spiral, and then that makes me literally stop working. I'll close my computer or I will just end the day. And like that is just not how you handle things. You don't just you're like, you just have to stop. It's
Yeah.
not the way to do it, Emily. There are so much better. And so when I see myself, okay, I'm done. Like and I'm not gonna do this right now. And I see that happening, I have learned to acknowledge that I'm doing it and say, Emily, you're doing it again. No, it's not the time to do this. And then I also give myself some options for how to like move forward. So I'm like, okay, clearly I'm not feeling this right now, but what am I feeling? Is there a component of this that I don't mind getting done? Is there a piece of something else that could actually motivate, like get my momentum going? And then really just taking a step back, I think, has been one of the keys in preventing that limiting action from following.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Which actually so you answered the spiraling, limiting actions that reinforce it, but you also answered another question. It's like you take the step back and analyze how you're feeling when the limiting beliefs start to take over.
And that's actually a really hard thing to do.
Yeah, it
To,
is.
when you're in the moment and let's say you're feeling like a real imposter, like you're a total fraud, to take a step back and say, I'm not a fraud, feels almost very fake. It feels like a fraud to
Yeah,
do that. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of intention. You have to be very intentional with what you're thinking and why. And just to have that, I think having that intention of saying, I'm going to focus on like what I am telling myself, and I'm going to focus on what I am doing and how what I'm doing makes me feel. And just starting there is such a good way to really understand what limiting actions and beliefs you even have that you
yeah,
may not notice.
yeah, for sure. Oftentimes when I talk to people, they talk to that awareness first. It's like awareness, and then with awareness, you can just observe. And as you observe, stuff just kind of dissipates, and because you can question it, and if you actually want to be there or not, you know?
Once you kind of get out of the fuzz that the emotion causes, that's what taking a step back is for. Then you kind of realize, oh, that's not rational.
Hmm.
This is a lot more rational. Oh, that was very emotional. This is not emotional. Like it kind
Yep,
of helps you separate. It helps you also separate yourself from the feeling. And so that way you see, I am not this feeling. This is not just because I feel this way does not just because I feel like I'm failing does not mean I'm a failure. Like that type of mentality.
for sure, for sure. I love it. Well, if you were to change your limiting belief into an abundant phrase that really spoke to your heart in the way that you needed to hear it, what would that phrase be?
So every single morning I write down, I am a confident, creative, intelligent woman with a lot to offer.
Hmm,
And I think that phrase has been really helping me because it's telling me I'm confident. It's telling me I'm creative so I can, do whatever content I can do and I can put out whatever content I need to put out. And I'm intelligent to trust my knowledge that I have because I have a lot of knowledge. I have a lot of experiences that I think can really help some people. And I need to trust that. I need to say, like, hey, my experiences are valid and my knowledge is worthy of sharing. And then that last part to have a lot to offer is to show that people want to have or want to hear what I have to share. That
yeah,
people do want to see that mental health advice and they do want to see the connection and they want help in reaching their full potential. And like, I have a real job to do here and it's a fun job and it's a creative job and I can do it and I'm really good at it. And so that's what that statement has really brought to light for me. And that's why I write that statement down every single morning.
I love it. All right, we got two more questions for you. Got time for it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. First one we're going to start with is, what is your favorite belief about yourself?
Ooh, that's a good one. My favorite belief about myself is that I am very emotionally aware.
Mhm.
I really pride myself in hearing my emotions and acknowledging which voice in my head is talking to me. Is it the critic? Is it the judge? Is it the lonely guy? Is it there's the procrastinator? Like there's so many different types of voices that can go on in your head, and acknowledging them and saying, oh, that's not me, that's the critic. I think
Yeah,
that's been a huge belief of mine that I believe I'm very good at and have only come to be good at it because of the amount of work I put into it. It was not something I was born with, for sure.
yeah. I love it. I love that you put work into that and developed it, that it's not an inherent thing. Because those are the best types. That's when it's like my belief has a solid foundation to sit on. And so I feel like all of our beliefs have a huge stack of evidence behind them, whether we know it or not. And we're like, you know, cognizant of it or
Trying to
not.
do it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's really cool.
And I think it's also, thank you. I think it's also really important to understand that beliefs are ever growing. And like, even though I believe that I have great emotional awareness right now, does not mean that my emotional awareness cannot get better
Yeah,
and that I can't get it even more. And, it's a continuous cycle of learning, I think.
for sure. For sure. All right. Our last question. If you had 100% confidence in yourself, like imposter syndrome never popped up ever, how would that change your life? What would your life look like?
That's I definitely would, my business would be a lot bigger.
How much bigger?
I would have, I would argue I would already be coaching clients and have an e-course out. And I definitely would have a bajillion more blogs up on my website. And a
Number?
bajillion. And I definitely would have started posting on LinkedIn a lot earlier. I think that was something that the imposter really prevented me from doing for quite a while, which is so silly looking back. And really, yeah, just moving my business forward and kind of taking not risks in the normal sense, but more risks in the confidence sense of like risk putting my name forward more and putting just my content out there more. Definitely. And I've noticed in the last month alone, I have put out so much more content and been networking so much more than the last like 6 months. So there is a point where once you continuously say it to yourself and practice those positive beliefs and negate those limiting beliefs, like there comes a clicking point almost where it just kind of one day you wake up and you genuinely believe it. You genuinely believe this self-empowering belief about yourself that you have been wanting to see, and it finally just is there almost.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think like persistence really is key in making any dream come true.
Yeah. No, 100%. I love it. Well, Emily, that's all we got for you. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been so much fun.
Of course. Anything else you want to chat about before we sign off?
I think one thing would be just if anyone feels like they're really stuck and cannot move forward in whatever situation that they have, that I actually have an e-course coming out. And I would love to hear your specific situation too. So that way I can make sure that whatever valuable information I can provide for your needs, I do. And so I'm sure the link will be put in the show notes and just to check out that e-course because I think there's a lot of fun information.
There we go. If you guys loved what Emily had to say, loved who she is, make sure to check her out. The link will be down in the show notes. Awesome. And thank you guys so much for listening. We will see you on the next one. And on that note, we're out.